In 2005, Officer Collins invites an average man with an ordinary IQ to join a classified program called the Human Hibernation Project. The purpose of this project is to hibernate individuals in pods for a year. However, Joe is forgotten and ends up remaining in his pod for 500 years. Awakening to an incredibly moronic future, Joe finds himself in a society that has significantly dumbed down over the past few centuries. Despite this decline, Joe's IQ test results show him to be the most intelligent person alive. As a result, he is chosen to serve as the Secretary of the Interior with the hope that he can address the numerous problems plaguing the country. Will Joe be able to save the day? Moreover, can he find a way to return to his own time?
Tell me how to get to the time machine.
Oh, that's easy. Well, you go down by the museum, sort of, but actually not really. More like on the street. You go, wait, let me start over.
Just draw me a map, okay?
Get ready to run. What? Oh, god damn it.
If you want to stay in the loop and receive more exciting videos, make sure to subscribe, click the notification bell, and don't forget to like the video. The narrator, Earl Mann, explains that intelligence holds no significance in the eyes of natural selection. Consequently, in a society where intelligence is consistently devalued, individuals who are foolish and irresponsible easily outbreed their intelligent counterparts. This process unfolds over 5 centuries, giving rise to an irreversibly dim and sexually motivated dystopia. Demographic superiority favors those who are least inclined to contribute to societal progress, leading to the submergence of the children from educated elites in a sea of promiscuous, illiterate, and proletarian peers. In the year 2005, Corporal Joe Bowers, Luke Wilson, a librarian in the U.S. Army, ranked as the most average soldier, and Rita Maya Rudolph, a prostitute living in fear of her pimp upgrade, Scarface, become test subjects in a covert year-long military hibernation project. They are sealed in hibernation chambers with the intention to be awakened a year later. However, due to the arrest of Lieutenant Colonel Collins, Michael McCafferty, the overseeing officer, for his involvement in a prostitution ring guided by Upgrade, the experiment is forgotten. The military base is subsequently demolished, and a Fuddruckers restaurant, later transformed into Buttfuckers, is constructed in its place. 500 years later, during the Great Garbage Avalanche of 2505, their hibernation chambers are jolted open, bringing them back to life. Joe crashes into the residence of Frito Pendejo, Dax Shepard, a typical citizen of the future who is foolish and ignorant. Frito is engrossed in watching a mindless TV program called Ow, My Balls, that lives up to its name with minimal artistic effort. Disoriented and unable to exercise the necessary discretion to let Frito enjoy his program, Joe is tossed out of the window after his hibernation capsule breaks. Joe stumbles into a hospital where he encounters Dr. Lexus, a lazy physician played by Justin Long. Dr. Lexus hastily diagnoses Joe as tired and fucked up. Noticing that the date on a magazine he finds on the doctor's desk, March 3, 2505, matches the date on his bill, Joe finally comprehends that 500 years have elapsed since the army placed him in stasis. Panic ensues when Dr. Lexus realizes that Joe lacks a barcode tattoo on his left wrist, rendering him unable to be scanned for automatic debit payments. He becomes alarmed by the sight of a collapsing world, decaying buildings connected by cables, and a freeway leading to a drop-off, and flees the hospital only to be apprehended at a Carl's Jr. junk food vending booth for non-payment of his hospital bill and the absence of a barcode tattoo. During the trial, Joe is represented by Frito Pendejo, a public defense lawyer who foolishly aids in Joe's conviction. Frito cites the prosecutor's insistence on Joe's guilt and his own anger towards Joe for damaging his house during the garbage avalanche. Consequently, Joe is imprisoned, and due to a poorly designed ID tattoo machine, he is renamed Not Sure and tattooed with a barcode accordingly. While taking a mandatory and simplistic IQ test, Joe realizes the extent of humanity's stupidity. Escaping easily from his dim-witted jailers, Joe returns to Frito's apartment and inquires about the existence of a time machine to travel back to 2005. Frito claims such a machine exists but agrees to help only after Joe promises him billions of dollars from a savings account that Joe will open in the past upon his return. Despite Frito's inability to comprehend compound interest, he trusts Joe's word that he will earn $30 billion, deducting $20 billion for expenses, resulting in $80 billion. On their way to the time machine, Joe and Frito encounter Rita. Unaware that she has been asleep for 500 years, Rita learns the truth from Joe and fears that Upgrade will find her. Frito leads them to a massive Costco store that spans an entire city, where Joe accidentally allows his barcode to be scanned, leading to his rearrest. Instead of being imprisoned, however, Joe is taken to the White House. President Wayne Elizondo Mountain Dew Herbert Camacho, Terry Crews, having seen Joe's IQ test results that classify him as the most intelligent man in the world, recruits Joe as Secretary of the Interior. Joe's role is to address the food and crop shortages, Dust Bowl, economic crisis, mountains of garbage, and other related issues plaguing the United States. The other cabinet members satirize contemporary politicians' nepotism, corporate loyalty, corruption, and the excessive emphasis on sex appeal in political media coverage. Joe discovers that Brondo, the thirst mutilator, a drink advertised as being rich in electrolytes, has replaced water in almost every aspect of life, including crop irrigation. Joe compares it to Gatorade. Over time, the accumulation of electrolytes from Brondo in the soil led to the death of crops and a severe food shortage. Despite Joe's unsuccessful attempts to explain to the cabinet that electrolytes are harmful to plant life, he takes matters into his own hands and reintroduces the practice of watering crops. However, overnight, the stock value of the Brondo Corporation crashes, resulting in widespread unemployment without any significant improvement in the crop situation. The angry populace erupts into riots, and Joe becomes the scapegoat, ultimately being sentenced to a day of rehabilitation disguised as a public demolition derby called Monday Night Rehabilitation. Meanwhile, Rita makes a discovery that brings hope to the situation. She finds that the soil has sprouted crops in the fields. To save Joe, she enlists the help of Frito and bribes a television cameraman to broadcast the sprouting crops to the world. However, on their way to the crop field, Frito and the cameraman get sidetracked by a sale at a Starbucks chain brothel franchise. They engage in a quarrel and fight before Frito remembers his duty and captures footage of the crop sprouts. President Camacho witnesses the thriving new plants on the big screen televisions at the stadium and grants Joe a pardon just as he is about to face incineration from a flamethrower. During the celebration, Joe decides to stay and contribute to the reconstruction of American civilization. President Camacho appoints him as Vice President of America. Joe serves a short term in this position before being elected as Camacho's successor. He also learns a peculiar amusement park ride called the Time Machine depicts a fictional history where Charlie Chaplin led the Nazi Party, using dinosaurs to wage war on the world. The ride presents a narrative where the UN, pronounced the UN, played a pivotal role in un-Naziing the world forever. Joe and Rita marry and have 3 exceptionally intelligent children, while Frito Pendejo takes 8 wives and fathers 32 of the world's least intelligent children, mirroring the film's introduction. After the credits, a 3rd hibernation capsule opens, releasing a sharply dressed Upgrade into the world. With swagger and confidence, he struts down the street, embodying the persona of a pimp.